listen to this episode if you feel like you had a great holiday season and now all of a sudden your sales kind of fell off a cliff and you want that type of demand that you have over the holiday season, the energy all year round. That's what we're talking about today. You're not broken. This is one of the most common patterns I see with product-based brands is naturally the holiday season is a busy time of year. 60% of the annual consumer spending happens in Q4, which tells us that naturally that yes is going to be a very busy time of year. However, you can add systems and marketing that allows for you to basically have that level of demand all year round. You didn't suddenly forget how to sell. Your marketing didn't just become, more ineffective than it was a couple of weeks ago. Basically, the environment changed. And today I want to explain how to make every day feel like the holiday season. Today, we're talking about the buyer cycle, how it changes during the holiday season, but how to also utilize it and you can control it all year round. We're talking strategy, what this means you're missing, and how you can actually have it every single day. This was obviously, as a coaching sessions episode, was submitted by one of you. She said, I made thousands during the holiday season, but it's the only time I have that kind of demand. How do I build it year round? And I want to really talk about this because it's something that I'm getting in my DMs a lot, when people are asking me like, hey, I see this. And you're right to see the holidays as your potential. You're seeing it as that's what's possible for my business. Why can I not just build that year round? I made $50,000 in those 3 months, or I made $500,000 in those 3 months. You made the vast majority of your sales during those 3 months. Why can I just not build to that level every single day? What I really want to talk about here is what the difference is. Before we do that, I just want to say hello. Take 10 quick seconds. My name is Madison Page. I am a business growth specialist. I work with product-based businesses and consumer brands to help you become the next household name. We master branding, marketing, community building, and D2C sales in these parts. So during the holidays, people are already primed. They have urgency. They have a need for products. They're not really just browsing. They're not just finding you and being like, oh, this is a cool brand. They're not just like researching. They're researching for a very specific purpose. They have all become hot leads during Q4 because everybody has a list of people they need to buy for. Everybody has a deadline that's usually December 25th or the week prior. During the holiday season, basically everybody has become a hot lead. You're not creating demand in Q4. Demand is already there. You're stepping into demands that already exist because all of the consumers need to buy. People need to buy for their family and their friends and their kids and all of these other things. And it's kind of a permission slip to spend money. There's a lot of sales going on. There's a lot kind of happening in the world that time of year. And so people buy a little bit more. So when we really look at the buying cycle, which if you don't know, every purchase has this buying cycle. I talk about it a lot, but I don't know if I've really dove into it. There is awareness, consideration, desire, urgency, and decision. So no matter what, if there is this urgency built in or not, urgency is a part of somebody's buying process. So this is where the girl math comes in. This is where you say on a normal day, why do I need to buy this right now? All of a sudden, it's like my bathroom is not put together unless I have this one decor piece in my bathroom. And you're like, I need it to be complete today. That's yourself convincing yourself of urgency. Or you say, wow, every time I go out for coffee, I'm spending $7. That means I'm wasting money. I should just buy a Breville that's a $2,000 espresso machine and I'm actually going to save money. Urgency was created that every day that I'm not doing that, I'm losing money. And so during the holidays, most people are already at the end of the buying cycle. Awareness, consideration, desire, urgency. Everybody jumps into urgency first because everybody has a need for purchases. They have a reason, they have a deadline, and they basically have social permission to spend, which is why discounts also work so well is because they say, okay, I'm going to buy this right now. This is why free gifts, because they say, great, I'll just do it right now. People have this kind of visceral need to buy right now. So outside of the holidays, no one is automatically primed. People are joining your buyer cycle at awareness, consideration, desire, urgency, and decision. People join at awareness when usually during the holidays, it's right in urgency. There's no built-in urgency on a normal day. There is no external deadline. And this is where brands start to struggle. Especially in January. You're listening to this at the end or middle of February. People just spent a whole bunch of money and they're setting their goals for the year. We have to kind of look at why this matters. And so now we realize we don't have a demand problem. We have an urgency problem that is basically a marketing problem, that we're not priming our audience to actually move them through this buyer cycle fast enough within our marketing. This is also why you see launches and sales work so well during a normal time of year, is because that creates urgency. We have a 48-hour flash sale. People have to buy within the next 48 hours. We have a launch with limited inventory. People need to buy during that launch. Otherwise, they aren't going to get a piece that they might want. So there's built-in urgency. It's the easiest way to sell is when you build urgency. But if you want to build a brand that is consistent, that scales, that is sustainable, we cannot depend on launches and discounts and the holidays in order to make all of our sales. We have to make sales every single day. I call these passive sales. If you can only make sales during the holidays, launches, or discounts, it tells me you're missing a few things in your marketing. And the main thing that you're missing is passive sales systems. You don't have a consistent demand building process every single day, which means when people find you, they are bouncing in some part of this buying cycle. You either don't have awareness, you don't have consideration, you don't have desire, and you don't have urgency within your product line. So, you might have a breakdown in one of those areas. So if you can't make sales every day, it tells me that we have to focus and identify which piece in this buying cycle people are leaving, which is what we do when we analyze your data and I audit all of your information there. Right now, your online presence just isn't moving people through this buying cycle the way that it should be, is because when they find you, they're missing some sort of piece here. So they never actually get to the urgency point. You're walking around Target and you're saying, oh, okay, cool. This is a new product. I've never seen this. Awareness. Do I think that I could use this somewhere? Consideration. Oh, you're right. This would look great in my bathroom. I feel like this would really put that room together. And this is the piece, and that's desire. And now this is the piece that would really finalize my room and honestly finish it. And then I can be done. Urgency, finish the project. I get to sign off on it. And now all of a sudden you have awareness, consideration, desire, and urgency. You have to do that within your marketing. And it's much harder to do that when people can't see or feel it. If you do markets, this is also why people can move further into markets. People come into markets like a farmer's market or a maker's market or whatever. They join markets. They come to markets with their credit cards in their pocket. They're already at urgency. They're already hot leads, similar to the holiday season. And so what this means is you need to create an ecosystem on social media to buy. We need to create an ecosystem that has awareness, consideration, desire, urgency, and decision all in one. It isn't a failure here. It's just a strategic gap. It doesn't mean that your product is bad. It doesn't mean that people don't like it. It's basically just an anchor into what's possible. We look at the holidays and it proves that people do want your product. It proves that your pricing works. It proves that your conversion isn't the issue. It tells me that you have a marketing gap. What's missing is actually something before the sale. If it's okay, I'm going to interrupt this podcast for 30 quick seconds to let you know about the Founders Cafe. It is my completely free podcast community where you can gain access to bonus resources, gain access to me and free coaching calls, as well as build a network of other business owners just like yourself. Business ownership is a lonely game, and we might as well build community, build a network, and have a space to collaborate. We can bring this conversation and all the other conversations we have on this podcast over into this free podcast community and make this a two-way street. I would love to answer your questions there, connect with you, see you on our next free coaching call. Click the link in the show notes and you'll find the link there. Now let's talk about how to make this holiday energy kind of every day. I want you to make sales every single day. First things first is that you still can use to create urgency on purpose. Yes, that can mean that you have discounts. Yes, that can mean you do inventory, limited drops, seasonal drops, things like that. You can create those, and those will naturally be the days outside of the holiday season that you have your biggest sales days. Yes, 100%, absolutely. You can build urgency to get little spikes. Even my clients that are making millions of dollars, they still have spikes on the days that they do discounts. They still have spikes on the days that they have launches, because you're building urgency. From a buyer cycle perspective, it makes sense. Like, those are the days that you're going to have the most amount of sales. But you also need to add in urgency within your marketing. Why do they need it now? You can manufacture demand. You can make people feel that they need this right now, even if they don't. That is a marketing and a messaging thing that you have to figure out. Think about the products that you've bought in the last month or so. How many of them were urgent? How many of them did you feel like were an urgent purchase because we convinced ourselves of that? I have those all the time. I've been ordering on Amazon. We're decorating our first unfurnished house right now. I've lived in many furnished places. We traveled for a very long time, full time. And so I'm decorating my first unfurnished house. I am buying things all of the time that I'm telling myself, I need this now. Kind of like that bathroom example. I'll see a mirror online on, some influencer or something or other. And I say, oh my gosh, I need that right now. It's going to complete my walkway. It's going to be great. I have created urgency. Every day that I don't have the mirror in that walkway, when I walk by it, I say, oh, it's just not complete. It's just not complete. I'm not as happy as I would be if I just had that mirror. Every time I put an outfit on and I'm looking in my teeny tiny little mirror that I have, I'm saying, ooh, if I just had a mirror, I would be so much happier. I am creating urgency. That's what you need to do in your marketing. You have to prime your audience before you sell. A problem that I see very often here is that your marketing is all leading to product. Buy my product, buy my product, buy my product. You are thinking that you are creating desire and urgency when you have to even get people to that point. We need to get people to awareness. We need to get people to consideration, and we need to build desire. And desire is not built by just throwing products in people's faces. It's built by educating and storytelling and repetition and having the proper messaging. People need to sit with your brand long enough to trust it and feel connected to it as well. Some people need that. Some people will buy from you within 24 hours. People usually don't buy when they see you once. They buy when they recognize you and they understand what you're selling and they realize that they need it now. What happens during the holiday season is basically everybody needs a product now. And so they're just trying to fill gaps within their gift giving list. Whereas right now, you need to make people realize that they need it now. That is the biggest difference. It is on you to control that. And last but not least, you need passive sales systems. Your website should be selling when you are not online. Your content should be strong enough to basically do the heavy lifting for you. Your content should warm people up before they ever land on your website. And when they land on your Instagram, they should be able to stalk your profile and move throughout this cycle. They've now become aware of you. Now they can find consideration, they can find desire, and they can find urgency within your marketing. And then they get to the decision-making process. And so what we're really talking about here is that you just aren't creating an ecosystem to actually move people through the buying cycle naturally. You need these passive sales systems. Your branding, your emails, your content should do most of this heavy lifting for you of how we actually have your online presence set up. It's one of the first things that I do with a lot of my clients is we make sure, no matter if my clients are making $1 million or $10,000 a year, I don't care. We make sure that every little piece of connection to your brand has everything that they need to move people through this buying cycle. Holiday sales are not an exception. They are a compressed version of what your business needs all year. It proves that you have proof of concept. It proves that people like your product when they need it. And it proves that you have a marketing problem if they are not buying at a very consistent rate other times of year. This tells us that if you build systems that create awareness, desire, and urgency on a day-to-day basis, again, this does not mean that you have to have discounts and launches all the time. You can do this on a day-to-day basis. You don't have to rely on one season to survive then. You don't have to rely on Q4 to be your major moneymaker because we can bring in more sales every single day. If you're struggling right now, it doesn't mean that your product stopped working or that your marketing stopped working. It means that your strategy relies too heavily on external buying moments or external urgency, and that needs to be fixed within your online presence. So when we really go back and we look at this, the major action items that I have for you is you have to create urgency on purpose. So yes, of course, naturally, those days that you have launches and discounts and things like that will be days that you are creating urgency, but we have to create urgency on a day-to-day basis. You have to think about, why do people actually need it now? What are the reasons that they are not getting the benefits that they could give? What is the solution to the problem that you're having? What is the feeling that they don't have right now without your product? You have to also prime them before you sell to them. If you are constantly just having all of your marketing really go back to product and product and product, look at how cute this is, go and buy it, look at our website, check out the different options, you are assuming everybody is at the desire and urgency decision, really the decision stage of the buying cycle. If you're just saying, here's my camera, go and buy it. Hey, here's this, go and buy it. Hey, here's my candle, go and buy it. This is what this smells like. You're assuming people are already making a decision. They have a lot of questions prior to that. Why should they care? Why should they buy this? And why do they need it now? You have to answer those things, and you have to prime them through storytelling and education and, repetition with some of these things, and messaging. We have to really nail our messaging down. And then you need passive sales systems. You need things in place like emails, profile setup, website optimization that's in place that sells people even when you are not selling. We need constant people, new people finding you. We call this a natural audience growth. I need a natural way every single day that you have new eyes on your business. And this can't just be organic content unless you have a really great organic content strategy. This has to be other external ways that people are finding you every single day. How can people find you? And then how can we have the proper messaging and the proper chutes and ladders in place for people to say, ooh, okay, this means that I'm aware of it, I'm interested in it, I have desire here, I have urgency, I need this now. Your major goal as a marketer is to create that urgency of, oh my gosh, I need this now. Why? Is because you're solving a problem. Why? Is because, they don't have the feeling that they would have. Why? Is because of some reason for your product, your solution, your differentiator that you have. The goal isn't to recreate the holidays, because you're not going to be able to do that. Again, 60% of consumer spending is spent in 25% of the year, which tells us that naturally that is going to be the time that people are buying the most. Because I don't need to buy a gift for anybody right now. Okay, Valentine's Day is next week. I might need to buy one gift for my husband, but I don't need to buy a gift for everybody that I'm close to on a normal day-to-day basis. You're not going to be able to recreate that urgency. But what you can do is you can build that energy and that demand, and your goal is to build a brand that feels ready to buy every time. Like they are doing themselves a major disservice without owning your product right now. That's what we're trying to do. And that's what's necessary in order to have this D2C sales system. This doesn't mean you need to create more content, doesn't mean you need to hustle harder. It doesn't mean you need to add in other platforms. It means you need to have strategic systems in place that sells even when you're quiet. You need to have systems that bring new people to you, and then you have everything in place that when they find you, they're going to buy, because we have all of the right messaging and we have all of the right marketing there to do that. If you have a friend that has been pretty down in the dumps lately about, hey, my holiday season was really great and I just don't understand why I can't build that year round, send this episode to them so you guys can chit chat about it. I would love to chat with you about it as well. If you want to come hang out in my Instagram DMs, it actually makes my day so incredibly better when I hear from you and I hear how much you love the podcast. I'm here chatting into a microphone, and sometimes I just love to hear that you guys are actually enjoying it. It helps me also make more episodes that are fun for you. So send it to a friend. If you could, less than 30% of you guys are actually subscribed to the podcast, even though you are listening to my episodes every single week. My active listeners have a 30% subscribe rate, which is low. That means you have to go in and you're searching for me and you have to go and find it. It's free. It takes less than 10 seconds. Just go in, whether you're on Spotify or you're on YouTube or you're on Apple, and just click follow, subscribe, whatever that button might be saying. And then it pops up. It also helps other people get this information, which is helpful for them and for you as well. I love you. I'm rooting for you. I'm in your corner always. I hope this episode was helpful for you, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Business Growth Podcast. We put out new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. So if you love this one, make sure that you're subscribed so you never miss a conversation. If you want more conversations with me and other business owners, make sure that you join our completely free podcast community, the Founders Cafe. The link is in the show notes. You can get bonus resources, access to free coaching calls, as well as connect with like-minded business owners like yourself. Make sure that you rate and review the podcast 5 stars, share it with a friend to keep those conversations moving, and come back every Tuesday and Friday. I'll see you there.